Hey everybody, welcome back. This is Lars Sorensen with another episode of Simple Python. If you want something more complicated, you are in the wrong place because this is very simple. Last time we fired up idle and we looked at the print function, but today I'm going to fire up idle again. We are going to look at expressions, and we're going to stay interactive using idle to talk to Python directly. And later down the line we'll get to a simple program, and then we'll start doing things in program files. But for right now, we're just going to use interactive idle. An expression is a way of representing data. The definition of an expression would be a fragment of program code that produces or calculates new data. Now, as far as data is concerned, what we've been doing so far is using numbers and using words. Computer scientists call words strings. They're strings of characters that are put together. But we can see here's 32 gives you 32. That's the representation for 32. Hello world gives you hello world. You'll notice that it is bounded by single quotes there. That's a little reminder to tell you that Python sees that as a string. And if you were to look at the sixth character there, you'll see it's a blank space, and that's a character just like the H and just like the L's and just like the W's. So hello world is actually an 11-character string with a blank space in the middle of it. That's basically the way we look at data right now. We just have numbers and strings. And these are very simple expressions, what are called literals, where it's literally what you want that's together. Numbers can be literals like we're looking at here, or words. Now, the good thing about expressions is that you can combine simple expressions with mathematical operators to get new data and new expressions. Very simply, without even having to use a print function, we can just do 5 plus 4, and Python tells us 9. We can go 45 minus 9, and Python tells us 36. You can use 5 different arithmetic operations. We can also do multiplication. We can also do division. Now you see that little 0.0 after the 5 there. We'll get to that later when we talk more about data. And we can also do exponents. So if I wanted to know what 4 to the second power is, I could do that and find out that it's 16. Or if I wanted to find out what 2 cubed is, I could do that. So we can use all of the expressions. Spaces are irrelevant. So I can do 3 times 5, and I could do 3 times 5 like that. And as you can see, the white space means nothing. Python's going to evaluate the expression the same way it would if it were all bunched in together. Now, we do have to watch for the precedence of the operators. So if I were to have a statement like 4 plus 5 times, let's say, 5, now that is going to do the multiplication first. So I'm going to have 25 plus 4 is going to be 29. Now, like in regular arithmetic, if I want to group something together with parentheses, say I put the 4 plus 5 in parentheses, and then I multiply by 5, well, then we're going to get a different answer. Now, you can notice that the operators and the numbers are all in the same order, but with those parentheses, I've grouped together my addition, and I'm now multiplying 9 times 5. So when you're doing expression evaluation with numbers in Python, it's a good idea to use parentheses. Remember only to use parentheses, because if you use brackets, that's going to cause some problems. So when you do arithmetic expressions, make sure that you use the parentheses. Okay, as one final thing, I'm going to show you something that's kind of neat about Python. Let's say I have the word dog, yeah? And let's say I also have the word ball. Okay, regular literal string expressions. I can do this. And add them together. Now, Python knows whether it's dealing with numbers or whether it's dealing with words. So if I use the plus sign with numbers, it's going to add the two numbers together and give me the sum. But when it sees strings, it says, okay, I'm going to take this string and attach it to the end of that other string. Now, as you could probably guess, and this is a good thing to see because we haven't really seen error messages before, if I try to say dog minus dog, some might think the answer would be 0 because it would cancel it out, but it turns out it's an error. That little blob of nastiness right there is what Python says when it doesn't understand something and you throw an error. Don't worry about understanding all of that right away. It's not that big a deal. So you really can't do subtraction or division with strings, but you can do multiplication. Now, only in a special case, though. If I say dog times 2, it'll tell me dog, dog. If I say dog times 3, dog, dog, dog. Okay? But I cannot do dog times dog. I get an error for that because the Python does not know how to evaluate that. It doesn't know how many times to do something. So it's basically you have to use your common sense when you're trying to do things like that with strings. You can use multiplication, but you can only use it to say how many times you'd like to see something lined back up. So that's the basics of expressions. You're going to see how the importance of this later. In the next video, we're going to look at variables. And then after that, we're really going to hit the road and start doing programs. And when we do programs and we start putting everything together, then you'll see how useful this is. Right now, it seems somewhat simplistic, but things get better down the line, all right? So that's it for this video. Stay tuned for the variable video, and be good, all right? Talk to you later.